I am on a mission to cut your tax. Rishi Sunak drops strongest hint yet that he could slash income tax and fuel duty in Wednesday's spring statement. Rishi Sunak is planning a government blitz on the soaring cost of living as he declares it his mission to cut taxes for hard-pressed households. The Chancellor, who will deliver his spring statement to the Commons on Wednesday, reveals in an exclusive interview in today's Mail on Sunday that he is drawing up a package of measures to soften the impact of spiralling bills. Although the plans are still being finalized, it is understood that cuts to fuel duty and income tax are among the measures being considered. In addition, the Chancellor has asked Treasury officials to establish a new cost of living unit which would scrutinize all new policies for their impact on household finances. He will also chair a new cabinet committee on financial waste which will aim to prune nearly £6 billion from public spending. In his interview, Mr. Sunak says that his number one priority is tackling the rising cost of living. I want people to be reassured that I am on their side. I have got their back and I'll stand with them, he says. My priority over the rest of this parliament is to cut people's taxes. That is my mission. And in what will be seen as a warning to government colleagues demanding more spending, the Chancellor says, let's not be spending any more money, let's make sure the money we're spending is spent really well. That's got to be the focus, because otherwise it's hard to cut taxes. Mr. Sunak's remarks come amid growing calls to cancel a rise in national insurance of 1.25 percentage points aimed at targeting the NHS backlog and social care reforms, which will be deducted from pay packets starting next month. Also writing in today's Mail on Sunday, Labour's Shadow Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, says Mr. Sunak should grasp the seriousness of the situation and reverse an unfair tax hike on working people. She writes, he claims he wants to be a low-tax chancellor, but actions speak louder than words. In the past 2 years, he's put up taxes more than any chancellor in the last 50 years, with 15 increases so far. Britain is the only major economy raising taxes as the cost of living crisis bites. Although both Mr. Sunak and Boris Johnson have insisted that the national insurance rise will not be cancelled, it is likely to be mitigated by other measures. Rocketing energy bills and petrol prices, exacerbated by the conflict in Ukraine, have contributed to surging inflation, which combines with rising interest rates to create the most severe squeeze in household finances since the 1970s. Tory strategists fear the crunch will lead to poor results in May's local elections. Mr. Sunak, whose room for maneuver has been boosted by a rise in tax revenues of £12 billion, caused by the surging inflation rate, warned that Wednesday's statement was likely to include challenging projections for inflation and GDP from the Office for Budget Responsibility, especially in the wake of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Chancellor said, the steps we have taken to sanction Russia are not going to be cost-free. We were already building up some challenges around inflation, those have only been exacerbated by the actions that lots of countries have taken to send a very strong signal to Putin about his aggression in Ukraine, and you will see that reflected in the numbers. I am never going to shirk away from my responsibility to make what are difficult, but ultimately, I think, the right decisions to ensure that this country has economic security both today and into the future, so that we have the resilience to respond to shocks like this. And I've made those decisions so that we are, quite frankly, in a good position now when you look at how many people are in work, how businesses are growing, and how the public finances are improving. The planned cost of living unit would scrutinize any new policy or additional spending requests through the prism of the cost of living. A Treasury source said, everything this government does should have a laser-like focus on reducing the cost of living, and this unit should help with that. The Chancellor's new Efficiency and Value for Money Committee is expected to cut £5 billion worth of waste, with savings channeled back into public services. A particular focus will be on the NHS, which will be expected to find £75 billion in savings over the next 3 years through initiatives such as the digitization of diagnostic and frontline services.